A bunch of you were all headed towards, or all of you were headed towards Selkirk, the island, and more specifically Selkirk, the town, for a festival, Festival of the Fifth Wind, or the Festival of the Amber Wind. A new wind that is being connected to the rest of Jaland. This festival has happened before, but this is the most recent time, this is the second time it is occurring. The first time you guys kind of have heard maybe have was met with a little bit of tragedy. So many folk, while you were heading towards Selkirk, whereas when you actually arrived there, were actually leaving Selkirk, the island. The four kind of groups, or I guess three groups of individuals, kind of all met together along the road. They also met two NPCs. One by the name of Jay, who was traveling along with Moritaba, a human, and Moby, a steam genasi. They met Coakley, a strange orange robot, and Telemachus, a Kirin creature with horns
I've
and
been calling him
fur.
Kierankin.
Kirinkin, okay, Kirinkin. Um, and along the road, you also met with Jan, who seems to be in a very old, um, not sure exactly what race he is. He doesn't seem like he is a steam genasi. He seems more like a Jin, a true Jinling. Um, and he was asleep along the road. You were able to help him along his way, but all of a sudden, Coakley had this sense of electricity, voltage nearby of danger, which was able to alarm and warn the group. Moritaba, I think, was the one to actually notice something metallic, something shiny on top of this hill nearby, and you guys were able to investigate, sneak up, and you discovered some storm clouds. What you learn from battling the storm clouds is that when they are hit with either magical attacks or physical attacks, they are capable of changing their forms to try to make themselves more defensive. But it also shifts the type of attacks that they're capable of doing. You also learn that they explode when they are defeated. Um, and you were able to dispatch two of them quite easily. I don't know if anybody took any damage or not. Do recall that you did find out that
I
there's a new status condition that can be created from them. I
Yes.
think
Yeah, I got soaked. I think I got soaked and zapped.
yes. Did anybody else take any damage?
I don't have any marked on me, so I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think I was rolling very good.
I think I took
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah,
one
that's true.
point.
There were a lot of bad rolls.
I think it's also
I took 1 point of damage.
interesting.
I forget what for.
Um, I don't think we actually saw the darker version attack. I think it got hit, turned into the lighter version, and then did the arm punch. So I don't remember if we saw what a dark
Yeah.
storm cloud's offensive capabilities are yet.
Yes, you are correct about that now I recall, but you did see both versions of them exploding. The gray matter form, as it's called, was kind of like a close nearby explosion, whereas the dark magic version, the darker storm cloud, more kind of ethereal version of it, kind of exploded in a ring around the outside of it. Um, and that is where we're going to start off. But before we head back to our characters, I have a little tale to tell. I'm going to take you guys to the Jaland map as I read a little story to you guys. From the Journal of Jajan nephew of Adras, king of Jaland, dated 11/4/52, third and 89th degree of the golden season. Gentu's first words are as follows. Today marks the day, the start of our grand adventure. Or that's how my brothers described it. Basically dragged me out of my study in the grand archives of Corsica. A quest to save Jaland. My task is to document the journey. Naturally, I will continue my scientific pursuits along the way, but this journal will remain separate. Ever the aggrandizer, Jeb, told me that it was imperative that I document the most glorious journey to ever take place in the history of Jaland. My grandfathers would tell this tale to their grandchildren for generations to come. Obi, on the other hand, took the more tactical route. and said that it was important for me to take ownership and responsibility in our quest. Least I feel left out and lose focus. A way to feel invested from the start. And he's probably right. So this journal will serve as a narrative of our quest, at least from my perspective. Today we set off. We found transport on an airship called the Sky Racer, sailing the silver winds on a course to Pyrrhus. With that out of the
Dude,
way,
can I ask a question?
yes.
I put one question in the chat because I need to know how to spell this guy's name so I can remember it, if you don't mind. And then
Yeah.
my other question is, can you remind me or clarify what is this is the nephew?
This would be nephew to Audros, king of Jaland. So it would be
Okay.
Jiri's cousin.
One of the
Cheers.
cousins of the famed Ja Jiri was Ja Gentoo, Ja Jerobi, and Ja Jebulus.
So Jajan 2 is the narrator. Oh, of this
So it would
journal.
appear that, and obviously our characters I don't think are understanding this yet, but yeah, there's Gentoo is writing a dialogue, a narrative, a book, journal of their, what I imagine, centuries ago or whatever the timeline is, when they started trying to take back the throne from their
Okay.
cousin,
Yes.
Jadrakar.
The second
Oh, okay.
crusade to oust Jadrakar.
So that's their motive is to oust Ja. I need Jakar. Second
Yeah, I gotcha.
attempt.
Yes, and so this is history that your characters would probably know, but notably, Jiri attempted. He had this first kind of journey that he went across all of Jaland, collecting the power of the four winds, through this ritual that we'll learn more about. But essentially, you bring into your body the wind, the air, the water, bonding to the spirits and the different winds within Jaland to gain power. It's kind of like tapping into the weave in the material plane, right? If you could use the weave as an energy source, he was able to control all four winds, but was bested by Dradrakar. And his cousins tried it, or he was banished, and then his cousins tried it years later, and they were able to collect three of the winds, and they were also bested by Dradrakar. And that was about 70 years ago.
70.
Got it. Okay. Whoa. Cool.
And now back to present day. The date is 11/5/11, second, third, and 75th degree of the Platinum season. We find ourselves in the beautiful skyland of Selkirk, on the way to the town of Selkirk. The temperature is a brisk 72 degrees, the winds are a blustery 5 miles per hour, and the lighting is dim, only 80,000 lumens. The Jalandi equivalent to a rugged, almost inhospitable environment. Anybody from the material plane would find this place as a paradise. Here we are on the hilltop, very close to the town of Selkirk. Selkirk would be in this direction. You guys came up from this direction, and this would kind of be like a shortcut. The road itself kind of wraps around if you went back to the road. It would increase your time by a little bit. But you just defeated the storm clouds. Their corpses kind of disintegrate into water, leaving like a puddle behind. And most notably, Coakley ran over and found a strange magical spyglass that was left behind when the storm clouds were defeated. And you all regroup on top of the mountain, standing amongst one another. What would you guys like to do?
As we're all coming down in the aftermath, I'd be interested in approaching Coakley and just saying, "Sir Coakley, was it? Is there anything fascinating about that spyglass? Is it of mechanical creation or arcane.
Can I tell immediately? I mean, I knew it when I picked it up. It was doing weird things. It wasn't just like a lens amplification, right?
Yeah, when you looked through it, you were kind of playing around with it, twisting. Light was changing color in it, but I will have you make an Arcana check to see what more you can find out about it.
Sherpa. Whoa, I'm on the wrong character. I was like, how is this still +9? I'm just rolling it in roll 20 because it was a what's it? Arcana is intelligence, so -1. 10.
You can certainly tell that it is magical in nature. It's not just a simple spyglass. How these storm clouds came across such a device might seem strange and odd to you, especially you, Hyper Moby, or I think you're regular Moby at this point, right?
Yeah,
You
my
back to
my mage armor still continues for like 8
okay.
hours unless and I'm actually curious about it. Won't come into play yet, but I'm curious if I cast like a duration 8 hour spell like mage armor, can I end it when I want, or do I need to don armor since that's one of the conditions that ends it? We can get there, but I will be interested in making a decision before we enter civilization again, because I don't necessarily want to scare people with the way I look or draw attention, but just a thought on my mind.
I'll start reading the spell while I give you guys a little bit more information about this spyglass. All you can really tell is that it's magical. Do you have any way to like identify it further, or like, is there any tinkering that you want to perform on it? You can tell that there
Coakley.
is. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll wait for the description, but I will have something to say to Coakley in the aftermath.
You can tell that there's kind of two features to it. It can open and close, and it can rotate. That's all you can tell at this point.
Coakley, I am admittedly impracticed at this, but I do have a history of taking rather rare items into my own form and assessing them over time. I'd be interested in doing that with this item if you are interested in sparing it for a time, but I do not mean to take it off your person.
It's not mine to give, but I would happily hand it over. It seems like a
Storm
spyglass.
hold glass.
What'd you
What?
say?
What was that, Kieran Kin?
How does storm hold glass?
The forms of those storm clouds were, at times, fairly amorphous and at other times more rather dense, like this body of a steam genasi. Sometimes storm energy, wind, in a dense enough form can manipulate physical items, but how it came into possession of such is beyond me. But if Coakley offers the spyglass, I will just take it and stow it.
Okay.
Did you look through
play-
it? Does it do anything interesting?
I believe I
Yeah,
saw our
didn't
friend
Coakley
Jan.
look at that?
I saw the old man Jan heading on the path, headed to Selkirk. And I believe if we continue in whatever direction that is, we should intercept him or perhaps beat him to the city of Selkirk.
Hey, Oakley, most notably, when you were playing around with it, twisting it about, the colors changed. It went from like looking like normal colors that you would see through your own eyes to like strange, almost infrared kind of style of colors. And only in that version of it were you able to see the old man Jan walking through the forest.
I will relay that to Hypermoby and add that to the list of things to check out while
Do you
he
think it-
interrogates the outfit.
I kind of like am off to the side, and I'm actually taking a little. I'm sitting down and I'm drinking out of this little like crystal tumbler, and I have a little bit of just it just catches a little bit of light as I do it. And I'll take a swig of it, and I'm gonna second wind myself since I'm at 5 HP. but I'm also kind of like trying not to get interested. But I do ask, wait, so do you think that it was because you could see movement, or was it heat or temperature? What do you think it was?
I do not know.
I will retrieve the spyglass and sort of open it and sort of hold up my arm in front of myself and try and look at my own arm through the spyglass and see if it indicates anything easily available to my senses that, oh, it's registering heat from my steam body, or if it's not changing in any meaningful way that doesn't relay new information. And then I'll take a cursory glance of each member of the party, including Jay.
Do you like rotate it when you do this?
I won't at the start. I'll just, whatever the default shorter portion it was, easier to stow and unrotated, I'll take a look just that way first.
Okay. If you're in the shortest kind of magnification setting, you're able to kind of see your hand very close up, like looking through binoculars almost at your arm, and then you're able to see the other characters kind of zoomed in on their like outfits or their faces, like very close up. So you can tell that the lowest setting,
It's fairly
there's a
true
decent amount of,
magnification. Okay.
yeah, it's got a decent level of magnification.
If I try and rotate it from this position, does it rotate, or does it need to be elongated in order to rotate?
No, you can rotate it in any of the positions. And when you rotate it, again, the colors change, kind of how Coakley described it. But you see, and maybe with Telemachus's kind of idea, you do kind of see that this does seem like you're seeing in thermal vision. You're seeing the heat as it radiates off your body, off the other characters. The kind of ambient temperature in this area is all very similar. So anything that is able to produce heat would stand out very drastically. Lighter shades for warm, darker shades for cold. As you're looking around, all of a sudden, you hear like a ticking sound. Tick, 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 and it closes. And it goes back to the regular set.
There's a duration of sort of see invisibility, or at least the thermal vision for a round or so. Was it a couple seconds, or was it up to a minute while I was looking around?
If you were to kind of guess with Coakley already having looked through it and then you looking through it, maybe about a minute of time in that setting had passed.
Okay.
That would be a great tool at night. Wow.
And then knowing the rotation capability is basically probably not available anymore for the day or until we further investigate, could I just extend the scope and see what that avails the viewer of?
Yes, so that extends it, and you go from like, I don't know, like 10x to like a 40x magnification.
Okay. Perfect. I will relay all this as I'm witnessing it to the group.
I can't remember. I know Moby. Wait, the Kieran kid looks at you too. I forgot your names. And are you and Crit? Are you going by Moby or Moby? Can you say?
Yeah,
I want to know.
just Moby. Yeah, just Moby.
Moby?
So I'll say I am. And actually, as I start introducing myself, maybe Moritaba would take over and introduce me.
Moby and Moritaba. Okay.
Yeah, so there is a moment of Moritaba has just been very much standing by, waiting for kind of like any sort of indication from his master of like, you know, waiting for him to kind of give a direction. But at this, there will be kind of a Kieran, can you do have the pleasure of addressing the Herald, the Golden Herald? We are on a very important mission to Selkirk, and this has been very fortunate in availing us of a less circuitous route to the town.
Thank you, Moritaba. titles I have questionable use for. For you all in present company, you may call me Moby. And this, of course, is Moritaba, my loyal squire who has spent much time with me. There's a certain uncertainty with the way I say that last part.
Well, and what does your title mean? Where is it from?
Oh, I am from, and my eyes sort of, even through my dark armor and appearance, it's not true Vanta Black. It's not completely obscuring my form. It's like a shadow that takes a physical form and then is shadowy at the edges, but you can still see facial features. It doesn't like block off my face. So you can tell my eyes dart off in a distance, recalling information rather than instinctually knowing it. And I say, I am Moby, the Golden Herald of the Order of the Four Winds of Pyrrhus. The Golden Herald versus the Silver versus the Platinum versus the Copper have long held vigil for the awaited return of legendary figures long lost. We seek information in Selkirk. Let that be sufficient for now.
Oh. Interesting.
I am eager to make our way forward if you all do not oppose.
I'm gonna roll my second wind, and then I will be ready to go forward. And then those ghosts disappeared, so the storm clouds disappeared. So I don't think there's anything interesting to look for.
Young Kieran, before we continue on, here, allow me to aid with your moist affliction. If we come upon any more storm clouds, that will be rather unfortunate. So let me help you. And I will begin with just
Moist
kind of a wave of my hand. I will begin doing some gusting cantrip to blow dry you.
You have no idea how annoying wet fur is. Thank you.
Yes,
so you can
shall we
remove that wet condition. You're no longer soaked.
I
yes,
kind of forgot it still was.
Yes, for any of you who have not interacted with the storm clouds before, they are chaotic creatures, not to be trusted, and are very dangerous. So we would be wise to be ready for any others we find. Though it is
We killed
somewhat
them so easily,
surprising
though.
to have found more than one. They typically are. They go where the wind takes them and rarely travel in packs. But yes,
What's the
I
town then?
believe it would be great for us to potentially even beat that elderly fellow to the town.
Eat him.
Indeed. There was something that struck me as off about him, particularly that we are, in fact, traveling with the member of the Sons of Jah, where he claimed that he was. It is unclear whether he was telling truth or falsehood, but I think us arriving before him will suit our needs. And I just shoot eyes to our traveling companion.
And then you'll see Jay like stealthily take the like charm that he had out and put it in his shirt and take out the other one and put it back on.
Very well. Let us be
Telemachus
on.
wasn't really phased by that. Yeah, Telemachus is like ready. He starts getting ready to walk off.
And Telemachus, you had mentioned that there's nothing really left behind from these corpses.
Yeah.
The only thing that's left behind is like a puddle of water that's kind of like absorbing into the soil. But there is kind of like a membranous shell that is also left behind when these things were like punctured and pierced and stabbed. You were like kind of breaking through. It's kind of like if you've ever seen like an egg without the eggshell, the membrane of it. It's kind of like that, and so like chunks of it are left behind. It's like flimsy, and especially when the explosion occurred, they're probably like scattered all over the place. But you can find these kind of like membranous, like parts of their husk, kind of.
Ooh, I would scoop up some membrane.
They are
If I
able to
could.
like pick up kind of like a
Gross.
wet membrane and like fold it. It kind of makes like a dome shape, very like light, seemingly probably capable of holding water, but it's just like a kind of jagged section of it.
I'm
Almost
actually out of
jellyfish like
vials.
as you pick it up.
Yeah, I say I'm actually almost out of vials, and like I pull back my like scarf shawl thing, and you guys just see like
Oh my god.
glittering crystals, like a ton of them, and I just go, boop, and I just drop it in a pocket, and I just like put it back.
Is it like in Hercules when he opens
Up.
his cloak and it's just full of all the fucking watches and
Yes,
everything?
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Lots of different shapes of things. On we go.
All right. So you guys head down the hill. Much easier to get down now that you're not trying to sneak up. You can take the stairs down if you'd like to. Some of the area, if you want to go straight to the path, which is kind of like right here. Let me ping it. Yeah, you're able. You might have to like hop down, but it's relatively easy for you guys to kind of like either diagonally weave your way down some of the parts of this hill until you get to the base of the hill and back kind of onto the original path. Jan, nowhere in sight. The last time you saw him, he was sleeping. The last time he was spotted through the telescope, he was still making his way all the way around the hill. Seemingly woke up from his nap, couldn't find you guys, and decided to continue on his journey by himself. You continue down the trail until you get very close to the city. The city, or the town, we should call it, is in view. I'll bring you to this screen right here. Is everybody? Did I bring you to the right place?
Yep, looks like it.
Okay, so this is kind of like the outskirts of the town. You can kind of see the town peeking out in the back over here. But these are some like houses that are like outside the town walls, so to speak. So that you are on like the outskirts of the town as you approach down this trail. And you do find this kind of yourself in front of kind of like a barred, like makeshift kind of fence situation ahead of you. And there is a woman, uh, an Ash Janashi specifically, standing with what seems like some type of mechanical or magical rifle in her hands, and there's a dog kind of at her heels. And the crosswalk, the roadway here is blocked. And as you approach her, you see a gesture that she makes as she identifies you and sees you all approaching. You see her breathe into her hand like this. And then she drops it down to her side, right by her hip, and she drops her breath down onto the ground.
Top breath, everybody.
I look to Moritaba for confirmation of how to proceed.
And I will kind of nose you.
Moritaba?
Yes. As you will certainly know, and as I will recall to you, and I will try and remember what I've learned of the Ash Genasi people.
Yeah, go ahead and make. This would be history. Go ahead and make a history check. All right. You're decently aware of this kind of like hand gesture before. It's not necessarily an Ashkenazi thing, though the Ashkenazi are kind of native to the spine. The spine used to be its own fifth kingdom at one point, but during the Jin Wars, it was kind of ripped apart in Ja Adras's wrath and turned into kind of just a series of skylands that were no longer connected together. Um, and the Ashkenazi do not have a kingdom because of that, because they were on the wrong side of that Jin War long, long ago. Though they are kind of permitted in society, they're not like looked down upon for any reason. This is just their area that they live in the spine. The spine is kind of more isolated, more rugged, rural than the cities of the neighboring kingdoms. So a hardy folk that live here in these like smaller communities. But you've seen this hand gesture before. It's kind of a gesture indicating like stance or like position. It is kind of like a way to show that I have authority in this situation because she dropped the breath down to her side. It's almost as in like I'm in charge here. It's a very formal greeting. You know of a few responses.
Okay.
One of them that comes to mind is the subservient way, saying, I respect your authority, which is the bring your breath and offer it forward towards them. Dropping it to the side would indicate that you think you are at the same level as them.
I think there's an interest to kind of do both because Moritaba is very like, we have very important business and he believes in that very much, but he also is aware that we're entering a different Skylands culture. So what I will do is I will breathe into my hand, offer it forward, and then kind of do like a downward placing gesture to start with, I acknowledge your authority, and now I'm also stating my own.
I want to see. I want to make you make a charisma check for this.
Is there any way I can make it intimidation? Like I've got my spear in hand. I'm very like forcefully marching forward. There's nothing playful and certainly nothing like deceiving about it. It's just very matter of fact.
I'll make it intimidation, more so like not like threatening intimidation, but more so
I think more
like
like
and putting on an air of importance
Yeah.
kind of thing.
presence.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Before we continue forward, I do want to clarify mechanics of having mage armor up or having dropped it. I assume you
yeah,
haven't
sorry.
traveled very long since the hill, maybe an hour.
No.
So like I doubt it would have
It's been, like,
exhausted the
20
duration.
minutes.
But okay, so very
20 minutes.
short. So as
Um,
DM
as I'm
Flesh,
reading
would I
this
have the capability to drop it?
As I'm reading the spell, it does not indicate what it looks like, and it also is a normal spell, so you can drop it at any time. But because it doesn't indicate what it looks like, that means it's up to you. So if you want to have the ability to like make it go transparent so that people can't see the mage armor on you, I think that's up to you. To say like, okay, I have the ability to like now my mage armor is being seen, now my mage armor isn't. It's part of like the spell itself.
Interesting. Okay.
Instead of
Alright,
having
I
to drop.
definitely Yeah, as we approach commoners, and I know how daylight themed so much of the culture in all of the Jalandi galaxy are. I don't want to necessarily give dark foreboding tidings on a scary event we're going to approach with the presence of shadow. So I will let the armor that has a physical form will just almost a sublimate and then mix into my form and become transparent. So functionally the mage armor, if I'm allowed to, I'll keep the function of the mage armor up, but I will be entering a non-hostile, non-ready for battle sort of appearance. So it'll just mingle and mix with my steam form.
If we hop into a battle at some point, we could always just flip you back into it. It's kind of like a combat specific thing
Yeah.
for like.
I guess
Perfect.
to state in retrospect, I forgot that your appearance would be kind of alarming. So as we were coming off the hill, I'd probably be like keeping a distance, and I'd ask Moby like, what the fuck is this thing? Or not Moby. I keep wanting to call you Toby
Moritaba.
Moby.
Yeah,
Moritaba. But it's the Moby and the Mori, and then but it's just sorry, it's gonna take a second. Yeah, Moritaba. I kind of want to whisper that to you as we walk.
there would have been like a this would have been the first like potentially like change in presentation of Moritaba. There would have been like in his eyes there's almost like I got no idea vibe, like I don't know what the hell that is either, but he will then say it is not my place to question the capabilities and powers of the Herald. I seek only to fulfill his orders so he may fulfill his mission. So like there's a very like I have no idea why he's like that either, but he falls back on his role.
Yeah, I'll say, all right. Well, I'll just ask him himself. Hey, you, Harold. What is this shadow? And I'll walk up to you, and just be like, almost like poking you with the like a little bit with the like heel of my sword.
I'm almost thinking this is the sort of moment that prompts me to Oh yes, I recall that you all do not take kindly to omens of shadow. And then I'll sort of dismiss it as we're coming up upon this person in the distance and stuff. Um, it is merely a manifestation of magic. Um, requires refinement. I apologize if it alarms you.
Oh, it wasn't alarming. Shadow is natural from life. Just curious at its form here. I haven't seen anything like it.
Um, I am still learning of my new powers. They were to manifest when signs of a returning um, hero of old landed again amidst the winds here. We are searching for more information, and along with that, information of how to control better my power.
Hmm.
And I just sort of
Um,
continue walking forward, almost not inviting further discussion with an attitude of like setting a precedent that you're going to have to chase me down on information. It's like you're the boss of a company is just walking by you and you're trying to get a word in edgewise and he's just still doing his thing.
and as like from where I'm from, I don't. I think I are the different magic systems of Jaland like common knowledge.
What do you mean by magic systems?
Like I know just like the different like do the Jinn have like a type of magic associated with them and like the
Yeah, so
plane of
like
Ja?
yeah, so the Jinn are associated with like divine magic, right? They're the gods of this realm. Whereas the springs are more associated with like arcane magic. It's kind of similar to the weave, and then the winds are more associated with primordial magic, right? Like the soul of Jaland and the winds that are created, the calm winds that are created by it, were their first original thing to ever exist here in Jaland. So they kind of fit that like primordial magic sort of vibe. Is that what you're asking
Um,
about?
yeah, because I just think Telemachus knows a lot of the art. Like I think there's a lot of arcane magic where he's from. So slyly, I want to like take out some glasses as I'm walking back, and I want to just like put on these like really amethyst colored gemstone glasses. And can I just do an Arcana check to see if I recognize the kind of magic or spell that's going on here?
Sure, absolutely. You can Arcana check.
Oh, did I do an acrobatics? Well, my acrobatics and Arcana are the same, but do you want me to Oh, that could. That's weird.
Whoa, that's funny.
Well,
What happened? Okay, yeah, a
It's
12.
the
But
same. Yep.
to identify a spell, there's definitely a formula for this. It's like something plus the spell's level, right?
well,
Probably, and it's only a
specifically, I'm
level one
curious of.
spell, and it's probably on your. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you're not a wizard yet,
I
but
would say you
Well,
probably can recognize at least the like form of the magic. Um, but you want to tell
but
us
I
like
wouldn't.
about
Yeah.
the spell?
And specifically, I'm curious of like where is that kind of magic coming from? Because the shadow, I
Mhm.
think,
yeah,
is
yeah,
different
yeah.
than anything I would have seen before.
I got you. Yeah, yeah. So, uh, hopefully, I'm not overstepping here, but I think, especially with your cultural, which I'm not aware of, but with your cultural history in arcane practices and stuff, you may be wanting to be a wizard someday. I think you would definitely acknowledge this as a fairly easy to accomplish and achieve level one defensive abjuration spell, which I certainly have my own flavor and signature of its manifestation. But you know, functionally, mathematically, how, oh, that's a pretty achievable effect. However, you definitely didn't notice me cast it by reading through a spell book or reciting sort of a similar mathematical prose that you might know how to do spells with. It was very much I uttered an incantation of import and meaning to myself and conjured the effect from my very being. So definitely in world or out of world, definitely more sorcerer vibe than wizard vibe, for example. But who's to say warlock's not at play or some other version of manifestation of magical arcane power? But you know it, I sort of conjured it from myself.
I'll put my glasses away and just raise an eyebrow and kind of fall back a little, giving you a little space, and that's all.
So then I guess we arrive
Right.
back here. Moritaba, you've offered your gesture. And is it a woman that we're encountering, this Ash Genasi?
Yep. Here, let me make the picture bigger. There she is.
Oh,
This is
right.
obviously a character that is a tiefling, so I want you to imagine it kind of like a darker shade of blue, almost black, kind of skin tone, and then no tail. But she's carrying some version of a musket, and Moritaba, you would recognize this weapon almost immediately. That is a Tempestus weapon, a form of a weapon where you take the chaotic winds, not the pure chaotic winds outside of Jaland, but the areas in between the winds, the safe, calm winds passages, and you can kind of see like a canister of condensed Tempestus winds that kind of feeds this like mechanical contraption, able to fire gusts of winds with Tempestus magic.
Yeah, so I think with that in mind, that informs his choice not to contradict her authority by just doing the simple acknowledging my own authority. So that will be why I kind of modify it to kind of be like, okay, I see you, but also we are about our own thing. And so I will try and do my intimidation check.
Yeah, let me see that intimidation check.
No.
Okay. So
Perhaps I
as
messed
you
something
approach
up
and
about the gesture. That
yeah,
doesn't come off
she looks at
naturally.
it. Yeah, and she kind of seems confused. You like made your own kind of gesture, right? And if this is like, like a greeting, it's like, I don't know, like if somebody waves to you and you like do something other than waving back, right? You'd be like, what? She seems a little confused. Not that she's necessarily like insulted or anything like that. She does kind of shift a little bit, holding her weapon a little bit tighter, and her dog next to her like barks a little bit, but she, with a quick gesture, settles it, and it sits down very obediently. And as you approach a little bit closer, she says, "Ahoy there, travelers! How fare the winds on the road this day?"
There
I
has
will-
been more chaos than expected. Perhaps it is the approaching of the festival. And speaking of, we have business to be about. Is something blocking the road here?
Yes, indeed. And you see her kind of sniff at you guys. And you hear her kind of mutter under her breath. Sniffs Moritaba kind of in your direction first, and you hear her say, "Earth and stone." And then at Moby, "Wind and water." She sniffs at Telemachus, "Fur and steel." And then Coakley, "Blast powder and acid." You see a confused face, kind of, or her face kind of go to like a confused look once again. And then lastly, she sniffs at Jay, who's kind of hiding in the back. "Floor fragrance, masking Materium." And she kind of like wipes her nose. "What strange scents you all have. They mingle in a bizarre yet intriguing way. Who are you all? And what business do you have here in Selkirk? I am Wendell, Sheriff of Selkirk. I am tasked with guarding the southern road today."
Sheriff.
Sheriff, yes.
I haven't said much to her yet, and I would like to go and do like a gesture that isn't one you described, but I think it's a practiced one that Telemachus would do. And so what he would do is he'd go up and he'd breathe in his hand and hold it to his heart, and then he'd bow. Because the Kierankin are kind of like, I think of them as like the Avatar, Last Airbender, the Airbenders, who are like these like when people see a Kierankin, I think they know often it's like his gesture here is like a humble, like I don't bring much, but like I'm just a traveler and I mean goodwill. And I would just like I have no need for any kind of stress, so I say, yes, I'm hoping to seek out your town and see what needs it has and see if my skills could be of service.
Have you also make a charisma check?
Oh, good. We'll hope for high rolls here. Oh yeah. I rolled it. The dice is going so slow though. Haha.
Hmm.
17.
Okay. She nods in appreciation of your gesture, and she says, "Ah, Kierankin. It's been quite a while since one of you have visited our humble town here at Selkirk. It is great to have someone such as yourself willing to help out. Selkirk is busy right now, and preparations are behind schedule. There are many new faces in town, including visitors, and everyone is expected to aid in preparations, so I appreciate that you come bearing an offer to help. As you may know, the skylands of the Spine are much smaller than the neighboring kingdoms. Thus, you will find that people here have a tighter community. When there's a task to be completed, everyone lends their breath in aid.
Does that include the people who have been recently leaving?
Hmm. And
Perhaps
who
a
are you?
different type
She asked first.
My name is Coakley. It is a pleasure to meet you, Windil. Um, a different, more timely question. Did you see an elderly man, goes by the name of Jan, come down this road?
Jan. Oh, yes. Of course. He was the one that just stopped by here before you arrived.
Oh, I'm very happy to hear he's okay.
He was in quite a hurry, claiming that he was here to perform the ritual, though we already have a group that has asked. They're interested in performing the ritual of effervescence. There were 5 sinners that arrived yesterday, and we promised them that they would be the one to perform the ritual. He seemed rather put off by that, but said that maybe he could change our mind. He went to, I believe, to find the spring to begin preparations for the ritual, though. You will have to talk to the group that have already arrived. 5 sinners, like I said, arrived yesterday. They promised to deal with our local wildlife issue in exchange for rooms at the Ease and Breeze, and for the honor of performing the effervescence. I was displeased to discover today, actually, that they did not complete their end of the deal. Beast, unfortunately, got the better of them, and slew 2 in their group, and maimed the other 3. But to your original question, surely, you must know that I'm very saddened to admit that many have left the town in the last few degrees. Fear has clouded their minds and occluded their senses. They worry about what will happen to Selkirk when the new Rin arise. But not all have left. Many still remain. Many still have hope for this wind to bring joy and a new sense of belonging here in Jaland. We welcome those from the Hive that will be joining us in our kingdom, this galaxy.
And do we know much about the Hive as characters?
Probably not. This is definitely, it just arrived like 7 years ago, I think.
Okay.
I said, and so very recently. Um, so it would be definitely a place of mystery for sure.
And it's about to connect, but we haven't had much contact with the locals that we know of, at least from the Hive, right?
No.
Okay.
There may be people that have, but none of your characters
Would know. Okay.
would know.
What wildlife has been killing these people that were attempting to? What creatures are they? What did you want done with them?
Um, so there is well, a beast about. A creature. Most notably, there have been many, new folk around on the roads, so some of the local wildlife have been a little disturbed by their presence. Most notably, there was a dandelion who made his den here on the Skyland for a few years now. Some travelers have claimed that they were attacked by this beast with claws, teeth, and tail. Although they did not get a good look at the beast, their senses were impaired by the attack. My guess is that it was this dandelion. You know, you would provide a great service to this town if you could kill, capture, or drive off this beast in any manner befitting that you find best. We would offer lodgings in our local inn and a place to stand at the ritual of effervescence. Could you arrange or manage to complete this task for us? Like I said, the sinners had promised to do so, but their group turned out to be not as formidable as they originally seemed. What about yourselves? Are you all... Is there a great warrior amongst you?
I guess as
you-
she is speaking, Moritaba is thinking like, okay, dandelion. Have I heard that before? And basically trying to be like, is that above our pay grade? Is that like an incredibly fearsome beast, or is that something that's typically more fodder? Or even
Like a
have I
nature
heard
check.
of them before? Nature.
As you're doing this check and interacting socially, I want to be sort of in the background behind all of you. I haven't introduced myself yet. We haven't introduced Jay yet. And I just want to be whispering some words to Jay that, hey, cycle through whichever amulet you think will serve you best or us best in this scenario. It sounds like Jan has continued ahead, so don't use the Sons of J emblem. I'm not up to speed with the Five Sinners, if that's a faction that would have their own emblem, or they're just an offshoot of some faction, but just encouraging Jay in the background to get his story straight, sort of, and have some emblem to assist our introduction if it's needed in a moment.
Yeah, you see him peek his hat out and look at Wendell. And you notice, and Jay notices at the same time, she has a medallion on, and it is of the Sword Saints. And so he was originally going to take that one out, and he's like, shaking his head. He puts that one back, puts the J back, and takes out a third one. It isn't the Sinners, and they're known as, they call themselves the Dark Redeemers, I should say. But they're commonly mockingly referred to as the Scions of Sin or just the Sinners. He does have that medallion with him, but he does not take it out. He takes out a crown with the gear. I'll put it up on the screen for you guys. It is a symbol of the Mechanicus Rex.
Sounds awesome.
I didn't see anything pop up on. Oh, there it is. Perfect. Oh,
He's
that's
doing it,
cool.
yeah. Mechanicus Rex.
Yeah, Mechanicus Rex.
Sick. As I see him decide on an emblem, I simply nod in acknowledgement that, okay, he's got his story straight, and maybe that gives me an indication of, okay, I know what faction to announce on our behalf. But I'll let Moritaba continue.
And I think you're kind of trying to understand that, like, I think you're getting what Jay's going for. He's not necessarily, trying to stake claim. He's trying to be the one that nobody is, so that
Yeah.
nobody questions
Yeah.
him. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Since he's not part of any specific faction. Anyways, Wendell had just asked, are there any mighty warriors amongst your group that could potentially be able to aid us in this this task? Like I said, many townsfolk have left, so there were many houses that were open, but we've been using them all for guests and visitors and preparations for the festival, so their space is very limited here in town, because the festival is so close. So we're asking that everyone must help out if they are to stay.
Yeah,
I will
do it.
walk forward. As I prepare to walk forward, and I sort of puff out my chest a little bit and take on a commandeering sort of atmosphere, Telemachus just volunteers us, and I simply step back and let things proceed.
Everyone, this is an amazing chance. We otherwise might not be able to actually stay in the town. And we have a great hero among us, right? Looking around.
I
See
guess
if anyone
I
can
am
fold a break.
unable to make much sense of this dandelion they talk of with a 4 on the
Oh,
nature
sorry,
check.
I'll tell you a little bit. You've heard of the creature before. You know it's pretty formidable, but you're not sure, like, okay, well, there's 5 of us, right?
Mhm.
So you're just like, you're trying to like weigh the odds, and you're like, I don't know. Never seen one in real life, and you've just heard of it before.
That is a very common theme for Moritaba, is very studied about the different areas, but has very little experience to draw on.
Mhm. And so she says, so what say you? Do you have any experience with combat, with battle?
I'm personally trying to weigh in on what do I think is worth speaking up toward versus letting things just sort of play out. So I'm struggling, and I'm being inactive right now because I'm not sure of what sort of actions to pull triggers on. But
Seeing that and knowing that your lackey isn't going to speak up on your behalf, I do want to eye Coakley and just see like, what can I read on Coakley's face? Of like, hey, are you cool going along with what we're doing here, or did you want?
Yeah. What does insight look like when we're reading the emotions and facial expressions of Coakley?
That is a great question. I don't know.
Well, and also it's kind of unclear whether or not you are like in directive mode or in probably kids to kind of look at you and be like, I kind of nudge you. What do you think? You ready to go fight a dandelion?
If it gets us to Selkirk in the fastest way possible, that does seem like the best option. We did just defeat those 2 thunderclouds practically by ourselves. What were they called? What they weren't thunderclouds. They were
Storm clouds.
Class.
storm clouds, and I'm hoping to just drop that, knowing that Moritaba just dropped the storm clouds, rats, and other thing are the 3 things to be worried about.
Yeah, and curses. Yeah, rats, curses, and storm clouds. So
Rats, curses, storm clouds. Listing one of those 3 things, hoping that a denizen of Selkirk would pick up on the fact that we just killed one of the 3 things.
Yeah, and so Wendell will speak up and say, slaying a single storm cloud is a feat to be mired. Was there one of you that slayed it, or was this a group effort?
Was truly a group effort, apart from, and I would like nod to Jay all the way in the back, but we have at least 4 capable individuals here.
A group of warriors, then. Well, for the most part. You could certainly be of use of us.
could you tell us more about this dandelion? When they started acting up, what sort of behavioral patterns? Are they typically less intrusive here on the island?
This one has been known to be quite friendly, like I said. For many years it's lived here and harmed no one. Yet, recently, we've had reports of, again, teeth, claws, and tail. Impairing individuals' senses. It must be this dandelion. I know of no other creature that could be causing such injuries. But I know very little of this creature. I am no hunter myself. I was just recently promoted to sheriff as our old sheriff left. Surely you must know what happened last time the effervescence was performed. Linking was attempted in the town of Corsica. And she kind of looks around the check to see if you guys are like nodding and understand what she's kind of insinuating.
I slowly, in understanding, begin to nod. Not as much acknowledging, yes, of course that's true, but I see.
Yeah, strange. An entire skyline and all of its inhabitants and festival goers vanished. Nothing left but a cloud of sand. You know, there are some that think it was destroyed by these inhabitants of that new strange kingdom, but I myself have met these bizarre alien creatures. They are singular-minded yet kind and non-violent. I don't think it would be one of them that is causing this damage on this island, nor have I seen any here in Selkirk. Their species is known as they call themselves gigantomorphs, but that's far too difficult for most to say, so we just refer to them as the bees. And they call their newfound skyland the Hive, and that's easy to say, so we kept that name.
Do they look like bees?
Yes, indeed they are, but the size of a house.
And what is the single-minded intent?
To serve their hive, their queen, to find, collect nectar, and return it to the hive. That's all they care for. So I don't think it was one of them that could be causing this damage or disruption here. We don't have quite the same type of flora that they are looking for their nectar. Usually found on smaller skylands without towns, kind of the rural or the uninhabited skylands, more likely to find them there. So, the only thing that I could imagine it being that's attacking our townsfolk is this dandelion. Like I said, I know very little about it. However, there are some in town that could tell you more. If you're willing to aid us, which I hope you will, you can seek out the Ease and Breeze. It is an inn. You may only be able to get yourself a room or two, since they are probably quite booked up at this moment. Seek out Holly Dell. She's the innkeeper at the Ease and Breeze. Your logging or your lodgings. And if you're seeking for advice to take care of the dandelion, you can seek out the hunter, Tinnit Murr. Or should I say retired hunter. He no longer performs such tasks anymore, else I would have had him help us out with that. Yet he still may be of use to you all if you go speak to him.
I'll jot down some names on the paper and nod.
Type them in the chat.
I'm actually looking really excited about this. Telemachus is. His little ears are pointed up.
If you're looking excited and looking around to the group at all for confirmation, I'm just in a state where things are progressing nicely. I'm not that interested in offering unnecessary information without being forced to. So I'm just going to sort of look to all of you and nod in approval that let's go ahead and do this. Tinnit Murr.
And if she's cool, then I'll just start. Then I'm ready to move through. Not sure if there's anything else we can ask her.
Well, Selkirk lies just ahead. Like I said, the town prepares for the festival of the Amber Winds. There's much left to complete before the ritual of effervescence will be performed in 3 days. And we will link the fifth wind to the soul of Jaland. Afterwards, there will be celebrations for the at least 5 degrees, one to honor each of the winds. The final day to celebrate the Amber Wind. Hopefully, we'll stay not just for the ritual, but for the celebrations to come as well.
The Amber Wind being the newest wind, is that right?
Yes. So that of the in the order typically goes silver, copper, gold, platinum. That is the order of the seasons as they rotate through, in that kind of circular path in Jaland, right? It kind of rotates like a top.
Perfect. Yeah, does she, if we indicate we're ready to continue, will she avail the path?
Yeah, she steps aside, she moves one of the barricades, her dog, she kind of gives it a command and it runs over and starts sniffing all of you guys. I'm assuming it probably likes Telemachus the most, and so it's gonna try to
his ears.
yeah. So it is very happy to see you, and it's bouncing around, kind of trying to play with you.
Small one, hello.
Make an animal handling check. Also, I still want to make you do this though.
Its name is Archibald.
I have so
Archie.
many.
Does look like an Archie.
All right, the roll is rolling. It does look like Archie. I was thinking that the little Frenchie. I love the art for that character. Oh, damn it! Little
Nips at you.
doggy.
Yeah, you go to scratch its ear, and you can sense that it's got an ear infection. So as you poke it in the ear, like as you scratch it, it like yips and runs back to Wendell and hides behind her legs.
Wendell, check out that poor dog's ear. That's what I say. Hiding my
She'll say,
embarrassment,
"Oh."
my shame.
She like takes a look in it. She can see the red. Oh, thank you. I hadn't even noticed.
The
She steps
apothecary just
aside.
got to town.
Yes, indeed. So she steps aside and she moves open the gate for you guys to kind of walk down the path. So you're not in the town of Selkirk yet, but you're permitted to continue down this path. And I will bring you guys to
As
the
we
map
pass her,
screen.
I'm interested in one final interaction.
Sure.
As Telemachus continues, Coakley continues, Moritaba, I'll sort of shepherd Jay in front of me as we pass so that he continues forward as well. And then I want to linger back for one more moment with Wendell and sort of hushed, not to make a show of it, but just dialogue between me and her. I will say, I do not believe I introduced myself. And I will breathe into my hand and I will drop it at my side and say, with no disrespect, it is of urgent import that you relay to me which of the factions currently occupying Selkirk is the most well-resourced, the most powerful. And I see that amulet on your person. I implore you to not let bias influence your answer.
You're asking her like which one has the most sway in the town?
Basically, which one's the most, which has the most sway, the most dangerous, which for me, the functional information I'm looking for is which one do we not want to fuck with? If we're going to pass ourselves off as various factions from moment to moment, I want to get a sense of, Jay, we shouldn't pretend to be these people. That could get us in the most danger. So I'm sort of, and I had given the greeting of my status, not hopefully in disrespect, but I'm hoping to take a sort of imposing form here to say, hey, I need to know a little bit of the lay of the land based on the current faction layout.
And she'll respond, well, since you asked, most folk in town hold no religion. But if I were to pick one in particular, it would be the Sword Saints. Most here believe that it is our duty to fight against the darkness, to hopefully open the eyes of all those who are asleep to the knowledge, the great truth that the soul of Jaland is dimming, and we must do something to stop that. However, right now, the highest ranking members in the town are the sinners. They will be the ones to perform the ritual. We have no members of the Sword Saints capable of performing such a ritual. And then there's this Jan individual that showed up. He agreed to help. He is going to set up and go to the spring and speak to the Kirin there and see if it will grant him the right to perform the ritual instead of the sinners. I'm not sure what will become of that, but all I do know is that it would be good to have at least, one member of somebody other than the sinners performing that ritual. Don't like that we've accepted their aid. They came in a group of 5, a quite formidable force, wearing armor and carrying weapons. We don't have the manpower to to challenge them. I'm but the only sheriff in town right now. I was but the deputy just the day before. So as to keep the peace, we agreed and we allowed them into town, and we permitted them and promised them to perform the ritual, though. Now that their numbers have thinned, maybe things have changed. Speak to them if you see them in town and see what they're made of.
Thank you, Sheriff. And I will continue forward.
And she nods, and then as you guys pass through, she puts the gate back up and continues her sentry duties.
Awesome.
And then you guys are starting kind of down here. This map isn't perfect, but this kind of represents that like hill that you were at, the ruins, and then you met Wendell kind of right about here. And as you guys are heading down this path now towards town, you go past what looks like an abandoned farm on your left and an abandoned orchard on your right as you pass into town. There are nobody out in the fields. They seem to be completely empty at this moment.
Are they recently empty or like long dead empty?
If you're peeking to either side of you as you walk, you can make a perception check for me.
Did that come through?
Good. Yeah.
Mhm.
You can kind of get the sense that nothing's like worn down. It looks like, things are in place, that people were living here very recently, but these farms must have been some of the people that were leaving recently. You can see the door open to one of the abandoned farmhouses, uh, and you can peek inside and potentially even see that a lot of the stuff is like kind of disheveled, but it doesn't look like things are broken. It doesn't look like this place was broken into. It doesn't look dusty. There aren't cobwebs everywhere. It was recently lived in, but it's been abandoned.
I wonder what could have driven off all these people besides fear of the hive joining? Am I right in thinking that was the fear?
It is
I'll say
unclear
group.
to me. Yeah, it is unclear to me whether cultural fear has begun to take the denizens of this land in the years aftermath of what happened at Corsica, or if, as you say, the residents of the hive themselves bring a danger with them. Giant bees. I'm not sure whether that is an imposing force or merely a large one.
But think of the honey. And I stare off dreamily into space, thinking of honey.
I once
As you guys,
I once knew someone like you, with frivolous thoughts and sporadic nature and jovialness. I'm glad to be traveling with you
Frivol-
again.
I do look at you, frivolous thoughts, like in confusion. Glad for your company as well, I suppose.
Yeah, we can.
all right, as you guys approach the gates, things get a little bit more busy. Once you're kind of like arriving in the actual Selkirk proper. Um, it's just kind of like a picture to give you like a vibe of like what the gates might look like. There's like banners and flyers up. Like the place has started to become decorated for this festival. Um, I'm gonna send you guys back to the map page so you can see where you are. And you are right here at this gate. So as you pass through the gates, nobody stops you, and people seem to be on their own business. People coming in and out.
People
And
still
as
going
you,
out though, still leaving the city
yes,
sometimes.
yep,
Okay.
yeah. And so as you kind of continue down this pathway, on your right, you pass a bakery selling a variety of Selkirkian baked goods. On your left, you notice a bunch of residential houses. So these are just kind of like where the citizens of Selkirk are living. Um, that's where you guys are, right here, kind of like passing the gates.
As we sort of start entering civilization more, I'm interested in having a conversation with Coakley if possible, just as we're sort of aimlessly or somewhat with direction of some options we could pursue. Before we get to those, I want to sort of just walk up to Coakley and put a single arm on your shoulder, Coakley, and say, "You are reserved in conversation. I can respect that. I know of Moritaba's being, and this Kirinkin Telemachus makes quite apparent what his goals and needs are. What of you? It seemed when we first crossed paths, you were informed that the festival was occurring. What draws you here?"
Critter, was that to me because it cut out at the beginning? I'm sorry.
Yep.
New and unknown powers are specifically as specific as that statement can be. What I am looking for. Imagine a problem that you need to
Right.
find a solution for.
I will need to select one.
Imagine a problem that you need to solve, but no solution seems to exist. All I am tasked with doing is finding a solution for a current problem that I'm dealing with. Not I specifically, but that I've been tasked with solving. And all means and powers that I have found so far, regardless of plane of existence, have not been able to solve that issue. So I am seeking the new, is as simple as I can put it. And what I've been told from my contacts and the people who have been able to send me here, a festival such as this with a new wind is something that has not been measured, has not been quantified, and is something that might be of key for helping what I'm trying to do.
Well, may I offer you this proposal, then? Not so much as a pact, but an agreement between us. I have run into a problem already, and I am requiring a solution. What I offer is this. If I assist you by keeping my ears peeled and my sights set on interests that might appeal to you while we are here, could you help me identify a solution to a problem I'm having?
Does your problem have a name? Of course, I'd be more than happy to help. I have found that bartering with as meager of means as I've had on my travels, bartering is one of the best ways. So consider it a yes.
I am somewhat of a practiced commander and negotiator. I'd be glad to offer my assistance if you find yourself across a cart table from someone that holds something you desire, for example. In return, it appears that this ritual of effervescence that is to take place has many interested parties. The Sword Saints are a well-resourced group and maintain some semblance of presence here, but currently, the Scions of Sin seem to hold more power in Selkirk. There is also Jan, of the Sons of Jah, who I am not sure is ally or foe. No word yet as whether the other of the factions, the Mechanicus Rex, exist here. However, it is of very important and urgent interest to me that our traveling companion Jay, reserved in conversation like the two of us sometimes, he must be the one to conduct this ritual. Help me navigate a solution to that over the coming days. I believe we have 3 before the ritual is to take place. Help me get Jay a way in to participate in that ritual, and I will lend my services to bargain, negotiate whatever items may catch your eye as we are here.
You seem to be orders of magnitude more familiar with the local, not economy of festivals, so you do have a leg up on anything I have to offer at the moment, but I will do as best as I possibly can. If a door needs opening, metaphorical or literal, I would be more than happy to help.
If I stick to the social approach, give me eyes on what your wisdom tells you about this place.
I was built specific, as my creator has told me, I was built with a very powerful gut, both literal and metaphorical.
Very well. Start
You
using
just
it.
got to very powerful gut and economics of the festival are two standout lines for me.
Cool. Just wanted to strike up a certain partnership.
All right. I'm a big fan of both that interaction, Chris, and the one that you had with the Windle. So I'm going to give you the first point of what's it called now?
Heroic.
It's not
Heroic.
heroic intervention, inspiration.
Let's go. Thank you.
That's the magic card, Tim.
Gosh.
I think that's the second time you've done that too.
God. All right, you guys are in the town now. Passing the southern gate, bakery to your right, residence to the left. Where are you gonna go?
I will start surveying the landscape. I know we were given two landmarks, sort of. We could go to the inn. Well, I guess we were given two people. Maybe both of them are at the inn. So I'll sort of give a cursory glance for, okay, amongst the crowds, where is drinking and revelry sort of gathering up towards buildings that might indicate a social gathering versus a more residential lifestyle?
Gotcha. So you guys are going to continue down this path then, and when you get to this intersection, that's when you'll kind of notice and see what you're looking for. As you go by, you pass a general goods store on your right here. And, hold on, let me put that to the layer. And then up ahead, you can kind of see at this town square right here is kind of where the main festivities are taking place. Let me change screens real quick to show you kind of just an image of kind of how I closely imagine it. Lots of flags and fanfare and booths set up, lots of individuals doing commerce, different events and games taking place in that town square area. And then if we go back to the map, specifically, if you're looking for drinking, you can see a sign on this building right here, this rather large building that's right by the square, and it's got a flagon on it with some wind kind of like flying across the top of it, and a whistle is kind of etched into the flagon on this shop's symbol. And you see the sign that says the Wind Whistle, and it's a tavern.
From the conversations we've had so far, like there's a whole talk of performing this for this ceremony. Have we been told a location where this ceremony is supposed to be happening?
Yeah, so it was kind of mentioned with Wendell, but she said that Jan was heading towards the spring. So each Skyland has a spring. It's a location on it where the spirit of the Skyland, the Kirin, actually resides. And he went there to speak with the Kirin, and he went there to set up and prepare for the ritual. It will be taking place at that spring itself.
Do we know if the spring is in like downtown Selkirk?
You would know that typically it's not a location that people would build around. It would be too reverent for that, right? It's usually off in nature, kind of secluded, and individuals would probably seek that kind of solitude and kind of yeah, I guess solitude is the best way to say it. If they were to go to the spring. Yeah, it's like a holy place, right? So like it wouldn't make sense to have it in town. It is she may have mentioned that he traveled north from Selkirk to head towards the spring.
Is the ritual associated with the Kieran themselves?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Ritual
Sweet.
is associated with the Kieran. Um, since the Kieran are kind of the spirit of the spring, there is part of this ritual where the Kieran themselves has to be the one to permit an individual to actually perform the ritual. So, yes, the town could say the sinners or Jan can perform this ritual, but if the Kieran does not permit it, then the ritual cannot take place. So, it's not ultimately the people of Selkirk's decision to make, but when they agree to perform this ritual, they have somebody in mind that's going to be like attempting it, right? And they're going to be watching and waiting in reverence while this ritual occurs, or at least those from town that are going to view it and watch it.
I'd be ready to check out the inn if you all are.
Well, is that the right inn? That one appears to be the Wind Whistle. We were guided toward the Ease and Breeze. I don't know if there's any disbenefit to evaluating both, but it sounds like the interested parties we might want to make a connection with might be at the Ease and Breeze.
Oh, I meant I'd be fine to go search for it.
Yeah, most notably, yeah, this is definitely a different building.
Yep.
You find yourself in the town square. Anybody getting distracted by any of the festivities that are taking place? Anybody feel like they're distracted and want to see if there's anything that catches their eye?
Yeah, I guess I'd want to read on the people in town. Like, what are they how are they going? What's the vibe? We've heard that people are exiting, but is it look panicked or excited?
You can make an insight check.
I got that.
I would like to also start working on holding up my end of the bargain in terms of we walked past a general goods store, so that's at least on my radar, but I'm dismissing that as commonalities. Whereas the town square, maybe people are selling goods and services and items of interest more up Coakley's alley that could interest them. So I'd be interested in doing a quick casing of the place and see. Yeah.
Okay. Let's tackle the inside check first.
And that one.
Oh. Yeah, people are just super busy. It's hard to get a read on them. Most are Genasi, primarily Steam Genasi and Ash Genasi, but there are some Volt Genasi or Electric Genasi as well. And then other kind of creatures that inhabit Jaland. Birdfolk, there are some Kenku that live there, a few humans, maybe some elves, like astral elves. One large kind of killer whale creature walks by. He's about 8 feet tall, kind of almost as tall as Coakley. Coakley, how tall are you again?
6'10".
Okay, he's taller than Coakley then. And he kind of just lumbers past and maybe catches your attention as being the tallest, standing up above the crowd. But you don't really
people
get,
watching.
yeah, you don't really get a vibe check. People are just kind of doing their own thing. Nobody seems to be in a panic, at least, right? There aren't like obviously this area people aren't, people are coming and going, but they seem to be intent on doing the different fair activities. Moby, I'm gonna have you roll a D100.
D100?
Yes.
98.
Ooh,
All right.
almost.
You head to a little booth, and you see an Ash Genasi. and they're shouting. You see the sign. It says "Mimic or Money," and it is 10 copper per game. That's what the sign says, and you hear him yelling, "Mimic or money! Mimic or money! Who's willing to play? Mimic or money?"
You got Steve's interest.
Does it seem like they're peddling wares or just a game opportunity to increase your current wealth?
It's like a carny game.
Okay.
Mimic or money? Who's gonna play, folks? 10 copper per game. Unless you're willing to wager more, I'll take up to 10 gold per wager if you want.
I will, seeing that, I'll whisper to Coakley, for both of our use, we might want to increase the weight of our coin purses if we are to rid this place of valuables in commerce. That stall may do us justice if you're the gambling sort. I'm not necessarily, but I'm willing to give it a try if it benefits us.
Coakley takes out like a pouch, like a comically large pouch for the amount of money that's inside of it, having clearly like used up a good chunk of funds. That does sound like a good idea. Perhaps the two of us together, we could make a bit of money to extend our trip.
Indeed. Could we walk over to the stall and ask about the rules?
Simple, folks. You pick the mimic, you fight the mimic. You pick the money, you win the prize. 2 of them are mimics, 1 is the money. And he takes out 3 chests. You place your money in the chest. I place double the amount in the chest. And then he closes it. The other 2 are mimics, though. And if you pick the wrong one, you fight the mimic. And he starts like shuffling them about. And then hides them underneath the table. What do you say? Mimic or money?
I'll take out 20 copper.
I'll do the minimum. I'll do 10 copper.
You place it in the chest?
Wait, what? Oh, I have to convert this. God damn it.
Me too. I was just thinking of how to do that. I'm gonna if it's okay, Tim, I'm gonna reduce my gold by 5 and increase my silver by
fine.
50, and then I'll spend a silver for the 10 copper.
He's got change. Okay, so 3 silver we're gonna say in total, essentially. Yeah?
Yeah.
1 from me, 2 from
Okay.
Steve. Yep, perfect.
Yep. And so he's gonna place double the amount in there. So he puts so 6 total silver are in the chest now.
Perfect.
And then he shuts it, and then he rapidly starts to shuffle them, and he puts like a screen up so you can't see as he's shuffling them. And then he pulls the screen up, and he says, "All right, who's gonna pick? Which one do you select?" Hold on, let me write down so I know the answer.
I'm trying to remember the probability of the door game in my
Oh,
brain.
you always
Exactly.
switch. You always switch. Monty Hall.
You always switch, but I don't even know
Alright.
if that's applicable
I don't
here.
think we're just
So this is the game. I may have described the rules wrong. I forgot that point. He's gonna show you one of the mimics after you pick.
Okay. Do we have to pick simultaneously, or can one of us pick first and then the other person's still in the game?
Oh, I thought you guys put your money together.
We did, so I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah.
It's
One of
so
you
it's just
pick.
one chest of 3, so one of
Yeah.
us will pick.
Yep.
Oh, we just
Okay.
pooled our money for a group gas, did we?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's a great question.
I don't know that I have any
will-
fun features and traits that I can do that are interesting ways to interact necessarily. So I'll leave it to you, Coakley.
1, 2,
I
4.
will. Sorry, Tim. What?
1, 2, or 3. That's what the man says.
I will. Well, we know that he's gonna. Well, do we know that he's gonna do the Monty Hall reveal thing yet, or no?
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, he said he's gonna do that. That's part of the rules. These are great mimics, folks. Look at that. No heartbeat at all. Hard to tell which one's the mimic, which one's the money.
Oh, so he's gonna show us with. Oh, I will. What is your name? Not Toby. It's Moby.
Hmm.
Moby. Moby, with your permission, I'd like to pick box number 1, please.
Have at it.
He says, "All right, and which one was definitely a mimic?" He takes out like a magic wand, and then he taps the third one on the top of the lid, and it starts to like, but it's like chained up, so it like can't get at your face. And then he taps it a second time. It like goes back into chest form, and he takes it and he puts it underneath the counter. That one's the mimic, so which one's got the money? Are you gonna keep with chest number 1, or are you gonna switch to chest number 2?
I want to get down eye level with these 2 chests, which I'm realizing I have to go like super low. And I'm gonna like not take out my right hand. I'm going to put in this form. And I, at some point in my travels, while traveling with a bard, let's say, I had he had a horn that he loved playing, and I had one installed in my hand. And I will blow into my thumb, but no one's gonna hear it because it's essentially just a dog whistle. And I want to try and hit a specific tone on as high as possible on this dog whistle to see if I can get the living creature of one of these 2 boxes in front of me to react.
Sure, why not? Make an animal handling check.
I will do the thing. I will ask him permission. Ask the guy permission. I promise not to touch, but I'm wondering if I could potentially suss out some information. These look like incredibly magnificent mimics, so I'm sure they'd stand up to this test.
Sure thing, poke 'em, prod 'em, do whatever you want. These are true, genuine mimics, the best quality. Impossible to tell between them and a real chest.
I will try and hit as high a pitch as possible to try and trigger a reaction from the mimic that I'm seeing.
All right, pretty high DC on this, but I'll let you try. Go ahead, animal handling.
Oh, look at that! It's +2. Oh.
You whistle, and like you said, these things are not moving. You kind of get the idea that he had to tap it for it to kind of be like animated. So like, for all intents and purposes, this might actually be your real chest at this
Object
moment.
right now, yeah.
Yeah.
Moby, if you don't mind, I'd like to switch to chest number 2.
As Coakley says that, I'm studying his eyes, the facial expressions of this man, just to see if he's eager, like if there's any dilation of the pupils, anything to suggest that he's excited we're switching chests or not.
This guy's a pretty good carny, so again, very difficult DC, but I will give you an insight check. Go ahead.
We hate the carnies.
Not going to use heroic inspiration for this. He's pretty
He's got the
practiced at
perfect
what he
poker
does.
face.
Yep.
Are you sure about that decision? Not feeling confident chest number 1 anymore, are we?
I am confident in all decisions I make, and I have 0 regrets for anything I ever do. Chest number 2, please.
Rats, curses, and storm clouds. He taps it on, and it opens up, and there is 6 silver inside.
If you
I will
play
take
2 more
out-
times, you're likely to win one of them.
Keep it, Coakley. It's all yours.
Oh.
An investment in a partnership.
6 silver. I will add that to my little coin purse. Sir, it has been
Them's the big
wonderful
coins.
interaction.
And he says, "Alright, get out of here, scram. I've got more customers in line. Who's next? Money or Mimic?" You guys wander off from that stall. Anybody else interested? Maybe Telemachus and Moby, you want to check out any of the vendors? Or are you guys looking to Moritaba or Telemachus? Are you guys interested in any of the fair carnival activities, or would you like to continue on to the ease and
What are
breeze?
the other what are the other big attractions?
You won't know until you roll. Roll a d100.
Oh, sure. Oh, the D100, got it. I got that. MK, do you want to go first? Or are you not
Moritaba
in
is
those?
is not really in a gaming mood. He's very like just waiting on Moby to instruct us on the next task at hand.
You know, I'll be in a business mode too. I want to find our settlement, so I'm gonna be cool on fair games. But it was enjoyable to watch you guys play.
Since you were just peeking, you should still roll a D100 and just see which one you had seen before we continue on.
Okay. All my tech
We can
is
always
low
come
on
back.
batteries at the same time. D100. We have a 34. Now that I roll it, I'll do it. 34. Or I want to investigate it.
It's a hair braiding booth. Any braid you'd like, even fancy elven ones. For free. You can get your hair braid, I guess for you, your fur braided in any style you'd like.
Oh, I want them to take take the neck area where there's a little more, and I just want to make like swirling little elvish looking loops within like braid form. So they don't come off my skin very much, but they keep it like it's short, but in like a braid pattern. All right.
Olympicus, while the others are playing their little game of chance, you get your hair braided by some Genasi that do the braiding for you, and you kind of have the festive kind of fur hairdo ready to fit in with the crowds here.
Is the line for the bakery long?
Back, the bakery is back this way. You guys passed it, but yeah, there's a decent line for it.
We'll have to swing
Like
by the bakery later
continue-
once we get some of that honey.
Yeah. Would you like to continue south or heading north across this bridge here? Or I guess you could also go
North.
east. North, okay. So as you travel more north and right before you get across this bridge, you cross a magic shop actually called the Grimoire.
Oh.
It's got a scroll and a book sign on the front of it. And you come across this bridge, and on the left, you see a blacksmith shop selling all sorts of weapons and armor. And on your right, you see an incense and dye shop. This one is quite popular right now. Incense are just as popular as like drinking beers and ales in Jaland. People will go and purchase incense or go to incense bars to just sit there and sniff good smelling scents. But as you continue on, you get to the northern gate, and you still have not come across Ease and Breeze.
Could
Would you like to
I?
double back or
Yeah,
continue on?
as I'll certainly suggest for us to double back and continue searching the town for Ease and Breeze. But as we pass the incense and dye shop, could I peek my head in there and try and see what I'm interested in doing? And I don't know if it's valuable to RP through it or not, but what I'm interested in is, our companion Jay is fairly self-conscious about the scent of his breath right now. I'd love to buy a consumable or two that could help us bluff our way through an encounter, perhaps, without that being a disbenefit. So I'd be interested in maybe buying one or two incenses if they're reasonable price.
Yeah, so you will find what you're looking for is some type of like breath spray. And they per spray, so this would allow Jay to participate in one full conversation without being too stinky, would be 5 coppers.
Okay, I will certainly put down a silver piece to buy 2 sprays.
Okay. What flavor would you like?
I'll say I buy 2 sprays for 1 silver piece. Let's go with Let's go with one from back home in Pyrrhus. So, like, I'm sort of forgetting off the top of my head, but what are scents associated with Pyrrhus in the Silver Wind?
Well, silver itself, but also
Oh,
of
silver itself,
steam,
sure.
wind, and water.
Okay, let's go with wind and water. If there's a mist, vapory scent.
Yep, there is a wind and water. Um, and when you guys were on Wayward Skyland, which is an uninhabited skyland, no towns, no villages there. There were these big, giant sunflowers, and Jiri had tried to scent himself in that kind of floral fragrance using those, and that was most notably you heard Wendell kind of suss that out. She said floral fragrance masking the materium. Um, so Jiri J will point towards the one that is labeled like a floral fragrance and ask for
Okay,
that one.
I will get one of those as well. Perfect. So one wind and water and one floral.
Awesome. So you peek in there really quickly, purchase that, but then get stopped when you get to the northern gate. You can double back and head down this path towards this much larger building, or you can go back across the bridge. Where'd you guys like to go?
I like sidely. I like All right, well, let's go back and look around a little bit this way. See if it's not behind one of these buildings. And I do want to direct this back to the magic shop. And I feel like I kind of like want to peek in the window without looking too interested.
Okay,
I'll
so you
sort of
head back
nudge
across the
Coakley
bridge.
also to maybe take a look also.
You head back across the bridge and you peek into the magic shop. And this shop mainly specializes in magical scrolls. There are a few potions, but very few magical items. This is a location where you could buy kind of more like magical effects, scrolls, that kind of stuff.
Interesting.
Few items and very few potions. Mainly a magical shop. You'd have to go in to kind of get a guess as to the power level of these magical scrolls, but in a small town like this, you would assume they're probably lower level magical effects.
I was just kind of like with my back pressed to get like I kind of like oh I was just gonna see if they have a restroom in there. I'll be right out. And I just want to go into the shop and just like, you got some good scrolls in here, and I just want to look and see what they got.
Are you looking for like a specific spell in particular, or are you just more so like perusing the wares?
I just want a general vibe of what there is for perusal.
Sure, yeah, you see scrolls for like absorb elements, animal friendship, beast bond, cause fear, charm person, color spray, detect magic, disguise self, earth tremor, entangle, fairy fire, false life, fog cloud, goodberry, hail of thorns.
Sweet.
Purify food and drink. A lot of ones, kind of more natural themed ones, right? Things that you'd find on maybe the druids, um, spell list out of game, that kind of stuff. Wind associated, nature associated, that kind of stuff. Elemental.
Fabulous. Thank you. I can back out after that. I just wanted a quick overall view.
What are they charging for like first level spells?
First level spells. Let me look that up. Somewhere in the range of around 25 to 50 gold per spell scroll, depending on the spell.
Okay. Good to know.
Good to know. Oh, they had a great bathroom in there. Thank you for waiting. And come back out.
Where's next?
If we're back by the magic shop and we look, what is this building to the right, the big one?
guys want to head down this way? As you head down that way, you find the sheriff's office. And you find a Cooper as well, a barrel building shop right next to it. And next to that, you find a cobbler.
Ooh.
I'd like to get some new shoes.
Moritaba, would you run over real quick to the sheriff's office and see if you notice any indentations, decals, signs that point to the fact that the Sword Saints are a faction given reverence by the entire sheriff's office, or merely just Wendell, whom we passed in our journey here?
Absolutely, Harold. And
I can
Moritaba
feel my
will.
decals.
Moritaba will walk over to the sheriff's office, and not do like a full perimeter of the building, but kind of like do a very methodical scanning of the front and some of the sides of the building, see if there's any symbols, any iconography that lines up with Sword Saints, which is what we saw Wendell bearing, or anything of that nature.
Yeah, as you travel through the crowd, if you were keeping an eye out for anyone wearing a religious pendant, you didn't see a lot of them. As you get to the sheriff's office, are you trying to be like sneaky or stealthy while you're doing this?
No, not at all.
And then also roll me a perception check.
Okay.
Or give me an investigation check, specifically, actually.
I'm much better at those.
Yeah, as you're looking through the windows, you can see that there's not a lot of people in the sheriff's office. As Wendell kind of mentioned, they don't have a big staff. If she was intimidated by 5 individuals,
Right.
there's maybe 1 or 2 people walking around in here, and you see somebody come in, and then you see them quickly kind of run out. And you can tell that they're part of the sheriff's well, maybe this is one way to indicate it, but they are also carrying one of those Tempestus rifles slung over their back when they're in town, not kind of held outright like Wendell was holding it. They scamper in and scamper off, and you do not see any signs of them wearing that symbol. Of the 2 individuals, one that's kind of stationed in the sheriff's office and the one that kind of ran in and ran out, neither of them were wearing any insignia at all, actually.
While I'm outside, I will actually just go up to the front door. I don't know if there's any signage that's like, for the common people, press this, ring this doorbell, or if it's just like anyone can kind of walk in. But I'm interested in speaking to the individual who kind of remained in there. So I'll walk up and give a big knock on the door.
The door itself is not closed, it is open.
So yeah, I'll walk in and approach this person at the equivalent of like a front desk, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
If I could bother you for a quick second. I ran into Wendell outside of town. She mentioned something about seeking out, I believe it was one Holly Dell in the Easenbreeze. I was wondering if you could point me in the direction of the inn.
So this individual is actually the first San Genesi that you've seen in this area, or in town. And he's mainly made out of like dust and sand, but you can see his hands are like hardened, kind of like how the storm clouds were kind of condensed, that you saw the storm clouds that you fought. His hands are condensed in order for him to hold the utensils or writing equipment that he is utilizing. His arms have been condensed, and he introduces himself as Timberhawk. and states that
Sweet name.
Holly Dell in the Ease and Breeze is in the far west side across the southern bridge. You should easily be able to find it. It is just south of Town Hall.
Thank you very much. I hope to be of some service to the town in order to help make the festival go by more smoothly. My name is Moritaba.
Nice to meet you, Moritaba, he says, and also indicates that you might want to hurry. There's not a lot of rooms left in the Ease and Breeze. Things are filling up quite quickly. We've rented out every single house of all the residents that have left the town in the last few days, and now the inns are also running out of space.
I will thank him for his time and rejoin the group. And the nice Genasi in there, Sand Genasi in there, indicated that it's at the far, almost southwest of town. We'll have to cross the southern bridge in order to find the Ease and Breeze.
Well done, Moritaba. Let us make haste. If they are running out of slots, we better get over there.
And then I guess as we start moving that way, I will sidle up next to Moby and be like, I didn't notice any specific iconography there. Perhaps Wendell
No decals?
Wendell is perhaps singular in her beliefs, but it doesn't seem the sheriff's office is specifically tied to any one of the factions.
Sounds about right. Wendell did indicate as such that there was minimal religious affect in this town. Keep your eyes peeled for members of the Scions of Sin, whether these individuals known as the Five Sinners or not. I don't recall if they were going to be in town or some other visible evidence of their influence in town. Onward to the Ease and Breeze then, everyone. Is everyone in agreement? Less of a question and more of we're going there.
We are going there.
You guys travel in the direction that was pointed to you by Timberhawk. You head down past this whole area down here is kind of all residential housing, and then you go across the southern bridge, and you can clearly see the Ease and Breeze, and then also you do recognize that this area right here must be kind of like a fortified town hall. Just, you know, it's got walls to it, not very tall, maybe 10 foot, and there's like a tower, so it is a place of rather, you know, a little bit more fortified than any of the other buildings in town, I should say. More militaristic, even than the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office was kind of more just a larger building.
I guess also, yeah, that's kind of a good question. Is there's a city wall on the map? I'm curious if that is there, and if so, what sort of a structure? Is it just some timber posts strung together? Is it stone? Is it?
It is a
impressive
palisade
enough?
wall. Yeah, so it's made out of wood. It's palisade wall. Each one maybe 20, 25 feet tall. It's just a bunch of trees kind of all kind of
Yeah.
spiked together, stacked together. It's a very kind of rudimentary wall building. You can kind of tell that, you know, they're not expecting to be invaded anytime soon. More so just to keep people safe in mind than necessarily functionally safe. One of the entries actually doesn't even have a gate to it constructed. If you went past this part right here, you could see that the way out of this area, no gate whatsoever. So, you know, defense for defense's sake. And then you see the Ease and Breeze right here. And I think it's a good point for a bio break. I know it's a little bit late for one, but we'll take a pause for a second as we transition to the Ease and Breeze. But I did want to kind of bring us to that screen so you can kind of see what's going on there, and then we'll get back to it when you return. It's a rather small building.
Every character is hot.
Wait, do you see somebody?
Wait,
Yeah, there's
There's-
some characters down at the bottom.
Okay. Okay, good.
They look
I
like the
didn't realize if they
big
were
guys.
out or not. Oh, they all are? Okay. So you see one Genasi individual approaching. When you approach, there's kind of a group of 4 individuals, 3 kind of on one side, and then 1 on the other, like facing each other. The 3 individuals are kind of the most striking. They wear kind of black armored clothing, um, and they carry weapons with them. They look very intimidating, yet all 3 of them are kind of chained together. You can kind of see these like chains that like wrap around each of their waists, and um, most notably, they seem to be just the first thing you kind of notice is one of them is kind of like staring off, like the one that's speaking to the the Genasi out front is kind of like staring off in a random direction, not actually looking at the individual they're speaking to. Another one is kind of mumbling to themselves. And then the third one is kind of just opening and closing their mouth, like as if trying to speak, but no sound is coming out. What you do hear, however, is the air Genasi, and she's bellowing. What do you mean you couldn't find Shim? You all promised me that you would help. Good for nothing freeloaders. You should have never let you sinners into town. And you think we'll allow you to perform the ritual? Not if I have anything to say for it. You best head back out and find Shim this instant. And that's the kind of scene that you guys emerge onto, and we'll take a pause there.
I'll sort of
I lean
lock
over-
eyes with Moritaba and nod in acknowledgement of, well, we found him.
I lean over towards Moby, and with the same timbre of "This is a load of barnacles," I said, "This is a load of sinners."
Perfect.
All right, bio
Grab some
break.
lunch.
See you guys
Yeah.
in a few.
See you guys in a few.
Tim, how's school year going?
2 weeks until break. How's school been going? This year's been crazy. Just changing school is like it's tough, man. You know, like starting curriculum over again and like it's just a different vibe at the school. So it's good though. I like next year's gonna be a good year. It's been just super busy. We're doing this like greenhouse, because my classroom has like a mini greenhouse like attached to it.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that.
Working on that. And that's just like a lot of work. It's like extra things that I need to think about. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, gets
And
exhausting.
it's like extra problems. Like kids come from like all over the school, like trying to like be in there, and it's just like you can't be in here right now. Like I know it's like cool to come and look at the fish every single day, but like you're not supposed to be in my classroom. Like get the out of here. You know? It's
Yes.
just kind of annoying.
I'm so
Um,
merciless about letting kids not. I don't let kids in my room at lunch. I'm like, I don't want to look at teenagers for 5 minutes.
yeah. We're trying to get a tortoise for it, which will be really fun. But like then, kids are gonna be coming to see the tortoise every single day, and then like we had a bunch of fish that died, and the kids were upset about that because like the water ammonia levels were off when we first started it. But we fixed that, so now they're not like dying anymore. I had to go get more fish, but that's all right. They're like 50 cents. They're like little tiny goldfish, so like not too expensive.
That's
But
funny. I'm glad the kids
I
aren't too
never knew
sorry about it.
goldfish. I never knew goldfish were that cheap. That's hilarious.
yeah, oh, like the feeder fish are like super cheap. Yeah. Um. So that's going good. Um, Getting ready for kickboxing. Belt testing is coming up soon. I'm excited for that.
Oh shit!
I get my yellow belt, hopefully.
I didn't know you kickbox. That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I thought I told you guys this. I started it
I think you did once, yeah.
this summer. Yeah, it's good. It's a super like I go like 3 to 4 times a week. The people there are
Whoa.
super nice. And it's just fun to like punch and kick stuff.
Is it
Yeah,
always
I like it.
specifically training regiments, or do you also do like lifting at that gym and stuff?
You can. They have like a really tiny like weight little area in one part of the gym, but it is so how it works is like you come in and then like you do like a warm up and then there's on Mondays we do like more like sparring stuff. So you're like working with a partner, like actually trying to like punch each other, or like work on like specific technique. And then other days
Technique.
it's usually just like working on like pads and like working on like footwork and stuff like that or different things. And then at the end there's always like a fitness component to it. Like we do like some type of ab exercise, push-ups, pull-ups, like cardio stuff too. So
That's
it's fun.
awesome.
Yeah, I really like it.
Is someone messing with the Spotify right now? That was crazy what just happened.
Wait,
It's
did we
going
have
through
this
it.
issue once?
It's I don't know, it's rapid fire changing songs for me.
This
Yeah,
happened once.
same.
This happened to you once.
Oh, all my good
Oh.
songs that are gonna be spoiled for future events. You can't hear them.
Look, they were only hearing them for 4 seconds each.
Yeah.
What? How do I stop this?
Maybe reset Spotify.
It keeps saying, "Look at this. Oops, something went wrong," but it's like spamming it.
It's not even
I'm
saying
gonna
that for me.
I
I'm
just
back.
shut my Spotify down.
Yeah, I might
How do I
leave the
stop
session, and
though?
you might want to make a new jam, possibly.
Yeah, I'm ending a jam. Does it end?
Mm-hmm.
Left the jam.
Oh, that jam ended.
Yeah, the jam was not jamming. Hmm. Oh no, it's not playing on. All right, let's try this again. Jam already in progress. Liar. All right, start jam.
There can steal my decals. Oh my god, I found the charger cord.
Yeah, I regretted using the word decal immediately when I said that earlier.
Sorry, I wouldn't be a Kennedy if I didn't seize on it.
No. Stop it. It's doing it again.
I think it might be like a Spotify server issue. Because I feel like last time this happened, we didn't get a good solution for it.
My first instinct here is like, everyone check their Spotify app in the App Store. Make sure they've got any updates for the software. Because sometimes if your stuff's like out of date, even one patch or something, things can get so wonky.
Is it working now?
I see a new link. Sky Pirates.
No, it's not what I'm playing.
Spotify open.
Dark Creatures. Yeah, I think it's working.
Yeah, they're creatures. Okay.
Dude, Child of Light is such a goated video game, and the music is so great.
Never played it, but I like the song.
Oh, it's such a cute game. It's like an independent. It's really sweet.
Sweet.
The art's just
I
outstanding.
think I played Child of Light. It's very much like oh, what's that other one with the big scary spider that follows you the whole fucking video game? It's so much like Child of Light, I think. Damn it, I can't remember what that's called.
All right, ready to keep going?
We are ready. Ready.
So, back on our scene, we explored basically the entire town before stumbling across the Ease and Breeze. It's a very tall building. In this picture, I know it looks like it's nighttime out, but you can imagine it as daytime. And there are four individuals out front, kind of like arguing one with one another. Well, at least it's kind of like a one-sided argument. So again, an individual, the Air Genasi on the right here, is shouting at the other three, and you kind of hear her complaining about her missing son. She's screaming about a missing boy named Shim, and the other group kind of has an opportunity to finally butt in and respond. And you see one of them, the one that's kind of like looking off, like as like into nothingness, kind of, is saying, "Two of our companions died searching for your son. Our debt is well beyond paid. And as you can hopefully see, we are in no condition to continue searching."
Which individual is able to speak this dialogue?
It's the one that is kind of blindly looking off at nothing. The one
Okay.
kind of in the front. The other two are kind of tied behind this. No, sorry. This individual is back left of this triangle that they are forming. The one in front is the one that's like opening and closing their mouth, but then like realizes what they're doing and kind of stops. The one in the back right is kind of like mumbling to themselves. You don't really quite hear it, but it's like they're speaking to themselves.
In our journey here so far, have we seen I haven't asked actively, but has there been any indication of a presence by the Mechanicus Rex faction? Have we seen any emblems, designations, people's speech, anything does it seem like? I'm sensing an opportunity here that I'm interested in seizing, but I'm wondering if there's been any of that information available so far.
You have seen not a single sign of any such emblem. Would you like to make a religion check to see what you know about this faction?
I usually defer to Moritaba on those. If available, I'll ask Moritaba. Looks like we found our sinners. I see an opportunity here. Is there anything of use you could tell me about the Mechanicus Rex? I think we're about to pose as them for a moment.
I will see what I can recall.
Oh, I was thinking.
Not allowed.
You know this faction kind of originates from Gigas, the home of the electrical Volt Genasi. It is centered around this concept of rebuilding the soul of Jaland, but making it out of a machine instead of a natural soul, a mechanical soul, to replace the old soul that is dying in order to kind of ignite the bright light, the calm winds, and the warm temperatures here in Jaland. So their aim is to research and study and create such a device are capable of restarting life here in Jaland, or reforming it, continuing it on well past the life expectancy of the soul of Jaland.
It's not lost on Moby that is interestingly aligned with the humans' innovations to this world when they intermingled with Pyrus. Technology has certainly benefited that place, even if it occasionally disgruntles members of more traditional cultures. So, information I might consider using at some point. But as we sort of come upon this group, I will warn my companions that I'm traveling with that, friends, we have not known each other for long, but go along with my course of dialogue if you can. I'm going to try something here to set ourselves up for success in the cultural interactions of this city. And I will sort of walk forward first and foremost and be interested in entering their scene here if possible.
So as you approach, they'll kind of, not all of them, two of them will kind of look towards your direction as you kind of encroach on their conversation, and the third, the Genasi, will also stare at you, and she'll say, kind of, since she's a little disgruntled, she'll be like, "What do you want?"
Apologies,
If you see,
cousin
I'm here
Kin.
in the conversation.
I merely noticed that you are perhaps having troubles with another faction and wondered if you might be interested in aid from another. We are members of the Mechanicus Rex, and we are also interested in taking part in the ritual of effervescence in the coming days. It looks to be the case that we have competition in that vein. And if these sinners have fallen out of your favor, perhaps we can lend aid and gather your goodwill. We are accompanied with Kin, ritual caretakers themselves, so our mission already has holy designation.
The one who can't see turns, or seemingly can't see, is staring off in another, kind of turns at you but doesn't make eye contact with you. And you do kind of sense that these eyes are kind of glazed over. This individual is blind, but they kind of point in your direction, and this individual says, "Watch who you call a sinner. We are the Dark Redemptors. We believe in darkness, cold, and chaos wins. All of that shall return the natural order of life here to Orin." Mechanicus Rex, You fools believe that you can continue on life here in Jaland. All must return to chaos. Just as the Jinn did, we shall all perish. There is no returning life. The soul will die, and so shall we. It is our goal to prepare the soul of Jaland for that journey into the void. And you shall not interfere with our motives here. We will be performing the ritual of effervescence. But first, my companions and I must rest and heal. We were bested by that beast. This innkeeper here is not allowing us to enter into our rooms. And she, finally being kind of introduced, she'll say, the Ergenacy, I don't care who does this ritual. It's not my concern at all. All I care about is my boy Shim. He's been missing for, I don't know, what feels like eternity at this point. He went down to the quarry on an errand for Tinnet. Never returned. There's talk of the dandelion prowling about, maiming travels on the road, claws, tail, and teeth, ripping eyes, tongue, ears out. I can't imagine what it'll do to my boy Shim. I don't know what I would do with myself if something were to happen to him. All I care is about finding him once again. I would do it myself, but I have other children to care for here, and I can't leave the inn. Strangers,
So would you give us their rooms if we helped you?
of course I would. Anything if you would bring back my boy.
Might we get a chance to speak with Tinnet in order to better understand the mission he gave Shim and allow us to retrace his steps?
That fool, he does not live here in town. He's off southwest of here. He's got his own cottage, because he needs to live in the woods to find his muse. Sure, you can talk to him, but he's not much help. He should be the one to go find Shim. He's a hunter, after all. A lot of use he's been.
I want to turn to the three angry people. How were your companions killed? You seem like you would be so powerful. This monster must have been ferocious.
Was, indeed. A horrific battle. The beast snuck up upon us. We didn't get a good glimpse of it. However, it attacked us, blinding all of us. We could hardly see. I still wear that scar. My eyes torn from my face. You do still see the individual's eyes. And our Norm there, his ears ripped from their socket. And that one over there, her tongue was ripped from her mouth by this creature. If you think you can take on this foe, have at it. But I think we'll be taking over your rooms once it's killed all of you.
It got her tongue. I say towards Moritaba.
But
The individual that you see,
yeah,
yeah, the individual that you see that this individual kind of pointed to, but not in the right direction, clearly does still have ears.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is they seem to still have these things. It's just they can't do
Malfunctioning.
the functioning.
Got it. What was the nature of this creature?
Like I said, I couldn't see it, but it pierced us with claws, teeth, and tail. Slew 2 of us. There used to be 5.
Has
If
it
only
got,
we
like,
could hear from Norm there, but he's unable to speak.
Well, Norm can't speak, but which is the one? Like, there's one who can't hear, right? So can I like, take out a piece of little scrap paper and write on it what was the creature like, and show it to the person who can't hear?
Uh, yes. Okay, so the one that can't hear. The one that's kind of like mumbling to themselves. Um, you hold up the sign and you kind of get their attention. And it starts to like scribble kind of like a shape on it. And it draws kind of what looks like maybe a cat-like body. It's clearly got 3 heads to it. Really rough drawing of a beast.
One head for each of the senses, maybe?
Wendell did warn that it would scramble senses. Clearly minds, too, if they feel they've suffered physical wounds more than sensational ones.
I wonder if one of us was to get blinded, if this one would not be blinded. Interesting. I look at the innkeeper. So, if we help you, we can have rooms? Agreed?
Of course. On the house. You can bring back my son Shim. That's all I care for. Please, he's been gone for so long. The core is just north of here. That's where he's
Try not to
was was last, but you could ask Tinnit if he knows more.
All right, very well. We could ask, but do we want to like try to go settle in for a bit, or do we just want to go straight to see Tinnit?
Well, it doesn't appear the rooms are ours to settle into yet.
Yeah,
I guess it's
group
still
of
early, right?
yeah, the Dark Redemptor group, the one that's speaking up, will stay. Listen, those are still our rooms. Our stuff's in there.
Well, we could probably like get a little box for it or something and put it in there once we are ready to use the beds.
The innkeeper will speak up. My name's Holly. If you can save my son, I will move their stuff out. But they won't be staying here. They failed me.
Probably best we don't put our stuff in the rooms then anyway. Until we have brought home your kid. But my name is Telemachus, and I am happy to help. As I will help many in this village, I'm sure. Where does Tinnit live in the woods?
Southwest.
Southwest. So there's a point on the map.
So if we want to try and gain some info, we'll have to go in the almost opposite direction of where the boy actually is.
Is that true?
Because the quarry's to the north.
Oh, they said the quarry
to the
was
north.
north. Okay.
The spring also to the north, but Tinnit lives off in the woods to the southwest.
Got it.
The Redemptors will have a little bit more dignity, or try to kind of put on an air of dignity, and they'll say, fine, we will come and gather our things, and we will find lodging elsewhere where we are appreciated. And of course, we will not forget this. After we have performed the ritual of effervescence, our standing in this town will have greatly increased. And you'll be sorry.
Not feeling sorry yet, so we'll see.
I'll kind of get closer to Holly, approach her, and say, I do believe this group that I travel with is sufficient to deal with a threat such as a dandelion. However, I'm not eager to put our lives at risk carelessly. If we weren't able to lend our assistance. The cost of the rooms themselves would be...
Well, rooms are premium. Since there's so many folk in town, I'm able to charge anything that I want. It'll be 15 gold per night each. That's the rate.
Ooh. One rescued son sounds cheaper.
Yes, I suddenly feel an air of glory coming upon me.
A cheaper one than that much gold.
Perhaps we can lend our services to your son. Make good on your oath, and we will do the same.
Probably off by himself, doesn't know what to do. He's only 9. It should have been a safe trip. The quarry's not far. The sinners didn't even make it to the quarry before they were attacked, so I wonder what happened to him. It's the same road that goes to the springs.
We will investigate. See what we can do.
If you do stop by Tenet, make sure you get something from him. He's got a treasure trove of hunter's gear that he never uses. Retired hunter. Huh. He's no use to anybody these days.
A useful tip. If he disagrees and is reluctant to give assistance, you know him well enough to avail us of any insights into pressure points we could use.
Tell him I hold him personally responsible for sending Shim out on this fool's errand. He'll have me to deal with if he doesn't aid and assist you.
Very well.
But on another note, if threats and intimidation don't work on him, he is one that has quite a lofty ego. You could attempt to stoke it as we speak. He finds himself as some grand artist. Claims that everyone in town loves his artwork. He's been tasked with constructing the totems for the ritual of effervescence. But he hasn't produced them yet. He might need help in that. You could ask to lend an aid or lend a hand in that. I don't know. That's my only advice. But please, whatever you do, please just find Shim. Bring him back to me. Safe, hopefully.
I look to the group and say, to Tenet?
Saving a kid is a great way to start your heroic journey in this town. So yes, to Tenet.
Do not forget the faces of those who lend you aid. Fair Holly.
She says, thank you. That's all she can say. And she heads in with the Dark Redemptors, Signs of Sin, the Sinners, whatever you want to call them. And she starts tossing their stuff out the door. Out of here! She screams. Edmund's in it?
Oh yeah. As we leave town, I want to cast guidance on myself for a perception check.
What does guidance look like when you cast it?
It's funny because I already forget what I said the first time, and but what I think it looks like in this case. Well, let me see what the components are. Verbal and thematic. So I haven't figured. I'll speak some words in my native Kirin tongue and do like kind of a little tut with my fingers. And then I like do this brush, and there's like this. It looks like there's like prismatic dust that goes on my eyes, and it just kind of it sits there until I call upon it. when I'm actively looking to perceive when we walk out of the village and start going down the route.
What are you trying to look for specifically?
Well, I'm on the edge of. She mentioned the like. I'm actually gonna just try to listen for disturbances, and specifically since she mentioned that they got attacked right when they left town, and I know we're going in a different direction, but I just want to see if we're like be on the lookout for an ambush or something.
Go ahead, roll a perception check then.
An 8.
Even with the D4?
Oh, plus a D4. No, I forgot the D4. Ooh, 4. 12.
As you leave town, it's kind of more of the same. This area is a little bit less crowded. Like I said, it's more a residential area. So unlike the town square, you don't see as many folks milling about.
Okay.
But you really don't feel a sense of danger as you walk through this town. If there's beasts out and about, they're probably not here in town, or at least you don't see them. You don't sense anything that could be harming folk. If you do recall, she did say it was outside of town, but a few miles away from town is not just right outside the gates. Is
Oh,
kind
I
of what
see. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so you make your way out through the entrance, and you find yourselves kind of going through a more wooded area, and you notice as you approach this house that there are many, many trees that have been cut down recently in this area. I'll bring you to.
Very cool.
Looks like a
Yeah, it's
Skyrim
more of like
house.
yeah, it's a very log cabiny, very natural kind of setting. And as you approach the front, you hear a noise from behind the house. You hear a strange kind of like clawing sound. I don't know how else to describe it other than in modern times it would sound like a chainsaw revving. And you hear curses as it goes on and off. Rats, curses, and storm clouds, you hear. Oh man, this stinks. I've completely lost my muse. And then you hear like wood being thrown, crash. And then again as you approach this house.
Shall we way around to the back?
Which of us could pretend to be his muse? I vote for Moritaba.
I
You
beg your
think he
pardon.
wants to form a totem in the shape of a stranger passerby?
I mean, look at him. The charisma. That
Moritaba,
expression right there.
I've never
One of
seen you in this
suspicion.
light before.
I'm gonna go see what's going on in the back. And Mortama has no idea how to interact with this.
Alright, so you head to the back and you see this guy right here.
Hello, great friend.
And he's facing away from you guys, so he doesn't hear you approaching. And he's carrying what looks like a Tempestus-powered device that causes air to push kind of like a saw blade. And you see him, he's working on like a tree that he chopped down. He's like sawing into it, trying to like carve out pieces of it with this mechanical device. Clearly, he's in the middle of some type of work of art. As you approach, he says, "Oh, Shim, finally you're back. Hurry up. Did you get what I asked for?"
No shim here.
Looks around, startled. Huh? Who are you?
The boy Shim has been gone for quite a number of degrees.
Has it been that long already?
Could we ask what you sent him after?
See, I've completely lost my muse. Shin was supposed to get me the right medium. I just don't have the right medium to make what I need. Wood is just too soft. Metal just got the wrong vibe. Shin was supposed to give me some nice stone to carve into. I sent him to go roll me back a gemstone so I can make the totem for the effervescence. Degrees? No, it couldn't have been that long. A few hours.
Do you remember? Did she say how long it was? The mom?
She said it felt like forever. She said, I don't know how long it's been, but it felt like long enough for the 5 Redemptors to go, lose 2 of their members, and return back. So maybe not a full degree, but definitely multiple hours at this point.
We think that kid died to the dandelion, actually.
Died. He drops the device he's working on.
Moby
No.
silently nods in approval of extreme tactics in conversation.
I
Dead.
get a little dialogue bump at the bottom says Moby approves.
Make a persuasion check.
All right. Uh-oh. I miss having a character with charisma.
Gotta go all the way back to
dude,
Midwater for that.
I know. It rolled off of a 19 onto a 1, and I have a -1 persuasion.
0. Wow.
Wow.
So 0.
Is that 3 nat 1s from you today?
Yeah, and I think my first roll of the whole art campaign was a nat 1.
Good
I
start.
should have made this guy a halfling. Oh, just kidding. Did I say died? I always forget. I meant maimed.
Hear me like that. There's no way he's dead. Jim's a good boy. He'll find his way back. What's out there to harm him? Nothing.
Nothing but a dandelion who has scrambled, and I start stepping forward, sort of brushing aside any niceties and saying, one that has already scrambled the minds and senses of 3 of the scions of sin, or the Dark Redemptors as they seem to prefer. We represent another faction interested in rescuing Shim from your misguided task. Give us direction, advice, perhaps gear, so that you may rid yourself of any blow to your conscience should Holly's wrath find you in the degrees to come.
Intimidation check, please.
Telemachus gives a little thumbs up. I may consider heroic inspiration on this. Not sure yet, but I'll roll the first one.
Ooh.
I'm not going to use heroic inspiration.
Very
hopefully.
nice.
Listen. Take it easy there. I'm kind of a big deal around these parts, okay? I'm Tennant. I'm a local artist here. Right? Moved out here to get away from all the noise and problems of town. Now you guys bring them back here? Man, you guys are a hassle. I'm just trying to get my art done. I need to find my muse once again. Listen. If you could find Shim for me, that would be great. Dandelion? I just don't see it. There's no chance. Dandelions are, they're big, they're strong, but aggressive, violence? I don't think so. I've captured quite a few. Pretty nice, actually. You don't want to mess with they're young. They get a little defensive of them. I don't know. Equipment? Man. What do you guys want? What do you need? You guys look like you're armed already.
We were advised that a hunter of your renown and celebrated history amongst this populace would have hunting gear sufficient for our use. Traps, goading lures, anything that could be of use for interaction with a dandelion that perhaps may not need to come to conflict outright. Surely someone of your stature could provide such.
Listen, I'm a retired hunter. I gave that up long ago. It just wasn't for me. I don't know. Much better as an artist.
But you don't seem to know the most basic tenet of a muse, that conflict is the soul of artistry. So almost for this conflict, so we could bring back this little kid.
It's the soul of
We'll
art.
tell you of the fight. Maybe he even found stone, and we could bring it back for you.
Yeah, and I've completely forgotten what the faces of the Jinyan look like. Listen, if you're heading to the core to find Shim, could you guys bring back the statues of the Jinn there? That way I can see them and I can recreate them on the totem.
Are they heavy?
Yeah, they're like, I don't know, 50, 100 feet tall, 1,000 tons at least.
And you have stone carving tools, so we could bring them to you?
Yeah, I see the point there. That might be tough to carry them this far. Could you take like a sketch of them? I can't remember what their faces look like. There's 5 of them.
Why don't you get
Bring-
some gear and come with us?
I told you I gave up the adventuring ways. I'm an artist now. I can't leave my artwork. I gotta keep trying. What if you guys don't bring back the rocks? The stones that I need. I need a gemstone. I have something for the effervescence. I'll keep working on this wood until you guys return. Listen, I'll give you each one of my items from my old hunter's gear. It's in a box inside. You can each take one thing. That's it. I'll give you a second thing if you bring back those pictures. Any of you good at drawing?
Oh, could always try.
It's not close enough, it won't do. I need my muse. Bring back my muse. Bring me back those faces and a boulder. I'll give you guys a second item from my stash of hunter's gear.
I have an idea. When we go into the lodge, is there a fireplace in his house? If he invites us in to look through his box.
Yeah, go ahead. Go on in. Box is inside. It's not locked.
Can I grab some charcoal
You
out of?
hear him.
Does he have a fireplace in his house that has charcoal in it?
He goes back to like chainsawing wood as you guys leave. Yeah, as you enter into his log cabin, there's a modest fireplace that's lit. Yep, currently lit, so you can poke around. It's kind of dying out, so you can poke around and find some charcoal.
Sweet. And is there like a bed?
Yeah, off to the side and kind of like a separate room.
We could take one of his pillowcases and then we could use it to like put the faces charcoaled onto the. I mean, I don't have paper big enough for this, but
Do any of you practiced in handling artists' implements?
I have some skill with scribing and language, but and writing, but I don't know how well that will translate.
they're also tall, so making a rubbing might not work. But I will bring a little bit of this charcoal in case.
It is worth a try. Worst case scenario, I could, in a desperate attempt, fit a depiction of words befitting such a grand view into his mind. Perhaps if we merely witness and experience the Jinn statues, I could relay with sufficient detail their majesty through word. Or I could try.
Like a poem.
More an epic.
I want to go sift through the box.
Yeah, what's he got?
You head in to the main room once again, and you see a chest. You flip it open, and you rummage about the hunter's supplies, and I'll paste the list. First thing you pull out, the first thing that's kind of like sticking out, it was kind of sticking out already when it was closed. A Tempestus spear. It's got a blade made of Tempestus wind energy that can turn off and on, so you can like activate it, and the spearhead ignites, creating a kind of spearhead of wind-powered air. There's a Stormcutter's dagger, a Rat's Bane longsword, a Curse Crusher's crucible, Hunter's bolas, a Hunter's net, a Mask of the Beast, a cast-off studded leather armor, set of studded leather armor, a rope of mending, a potion of climbing, a mysterious key, and a lantern of tracking. You may each pick out one of, well, as per your agreement, you may each pick out one item of Timmet Murr's old hunter's gear. He did promise you a second item if you're able to bring back an accurate rendition of the 5 statues of the 5 Jinn
What's a bolus?
statues. Bolus is like
It's like the pair of
there's like
rocks and a rope,
rocks
right?
and a rope. Yeah.
It's a
Oh,
tanglefoot tool or something. I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah.
It's
What's the
Um, magical version of a bolas used for bringing flying creatures down to the ground, essentially.
Kazun.
Bessiva Grandheit? I think that's thank you. What's the Curse Crusher's crucible? What does it look
Okay.
like? What does it seem to do?
So this is a form of a specialized, I guess, arcane focus. It is in the shape of kind of like a little tiny bowl or crucible. It can be affixed to any part of your being or body to potentially aid you against curses, a foe. You'll notice that there are 3 items that are specifically meant for dealing with
Rats
some
cursing
of the
storm
most
clouds. Yes.
common creatures that plague Jaland. This will provide extra magical damage when casting spells against curses.
whoa!
I'm interested in it
Yes.
for sure.
It is a Stormcutter's dagger. What does that do? What it look like?
Is a dagger that is capable of slicing through storms, giving you a bonus to attack when attacking storms.
Very cool.
Same thing with the Rat's Bane longsword. Extra effective at slaying rats. This is like, you can imagine it kind of like a executioner's like great sword if you've ever seen it. It's a very large sword. Because rats, most notably in this world, are very large.
Oh, yeah, they're
beasts.
huge. Yeah. I remember Jiri saying that.
What does the Mask of the Beast look like? It does.
I mean, I'm assuming you kind of bring these things out and like, or you're asking Timid about them as he's like chainsawing. So that's kind of why I'm
Oh,
giving
sweet.
you this information.
Yep,
Yeah.
for sure.
He says that one is useful for disguising yourself amongst creatures. When you place it on, it allows you to take the shape or form of a wild animal and potentially kind of make your way into their society without them even realizing you're not one of their own.
Whoa. Cool.
So, we'll probably have to pause it there since we're a little past our 3 hours. So I'll let you guys kind of make your decision on which item you want to snatch from Timotmir's item box here to take on your journey to potentially go and find and hunt down the dandelion that is
Hell
plaguing.
yeah. Is there
Johnny,
any world
oh.
where Moritaba doesn't take the Tempestus spear?
There's certainly a moment where you guys go out to ask him about some stuff, and you come back and he's just got it in his hand. Like it was, in his mind, kind of unfortunate he wasn't able to leave on this initial mission with Moby and them without a Tempestus weapon. He knows about them, knows how good they are.
So Tempest's weapons act as like +1 weapons, but they're not quite as good as a +1 weapon. There is a little bit of a downside to them where if you roll a natural 1, you have to make a Constitution saving throw, or else a little bit of damage is dealt to the wielder.
Don't give that to Telemachus.
Oh yeah. No, I'm rolling all my nat ones now and getting them out of the way. It's good. It's
Get
good.
it out of the way.
It's
Get it out of
good.
the way.
I'm definitely
Sweet.
feeling drawn toward the Curse Crusher's Crucible. But also I'm worried that that's just like, oh, that sounds cool for my character, unless, oh, that's useful in a hunt. So maybe I should skew the other way. But
The lanterns are tracking. What does that do?
You name a creature, and it'll tell you in which direction that creature is.
yeah, that seems appealing.
Yeah, there's two ways to think about it.